So as I said, I finished off the last one, which is a long one. I went way, here was the conversation. It was meant to be pinpointed around this circle here, and it went way over here. But there's background history. You gotta understand how this could possibly happen, what just happened in the last 9 years. And it's really simple. If you know the fucking bullshit lies that idiots. Oh, like I said, I'll be meeting next week with somebody, and I'll be all ears to see what bullshit they've got to say. Because I know years ago they were making up stories about me having a BMW. It's like, and I didn't know you when I brought my BMW. The car I had before this was Alfa Romeo Spider. The one before that was Alfa Romeo Spider. And the one before, I've always had sports cars, except one car in my life that I had that wasn't a sports car, and it was basically a car to get me by when I was looking for another car. And that was this, I couldn't stand it. It was fucking expensive too. I was a teenager, and I was like, okay, I just need another car because my muscle car got smashed up, and I just need another car. And I just went in and was like, oh, my mum's like, I'll buy this, because then I can use it. It's like, all right. So I brought a car that suited my mother. I was like, oh, this is just temporary for a year. But yeah, which was the Ford. I fucking hate. It was a car that like you look at it and be like, oh, that's not Justin. It's like, yeah, I know, it's more my mother. But anyway, so yeah, I've always had sports cars. And when it relates to BMW, like, here's the thing. My grandfather always had sports cars growing up. Like, you know, my mum's trying to make them out to be something that they're not. Like, seriously, because you're trying to push where you live on the people you love, because you love it because it's the Rackleys. It's what the Rackleys want. You had to follow the Rackleys and do that. So everything in my mother's life is circle around the Rackleys, her second husband's fuckwit family, which I can't stand. Which is where she lives now, around that. The Rackleys. Oh, they're fucking the Lowies. So anyway, yeah, this person I'm going to meet next week, I'm like, yeah, man, you've got a lot that you better start talking for. And don't think that I'm going to be giving you any leeway. This is not a social, I'm like, no, I'll hear you out. But moving forward, mate, we are still going to be fighting out in a magistrate, because as far as I'm concerned, you have no right to, to have projected what you think into someone else's life. So my life upbringing, and even Stephanie Salas is a really good one at this. It's like, man, I was wearing Dolce & Gabbana back when I was a teenager. That's fuzz of me. And my mum wants to tell the truth. When she was working for Ian Shulback, here's the other thing. So you've got people that really believe that we were from the country. And it's like, my mother's best friend was Diane Shulback growing up. They forget that we had a different lifestyle before my mother got with her second husband. So my mother worked for Ian Shulback, who was a barrister in Sydney. She worked for him since she was 16. And Margie Clay, who's now with Ross Goodrich, but another barrister, who's heads up her ass now after the last 9 years. I don't think there's any room to actually sort of bring that friendship back around. Margie used to be one of my closest friends, Margie Clay. She was actually my longest, closest friend that I ever had. And we used to socialise a lot, Margie and myself, and before the last 9 years. And Margie used to always go to people, I've known Justin before he was born. I look at her and goes, well, yeah. No, Margie was my mum's junior secretary. So Margie Clay, back when she was with her first husband, Trevor, or it was actually before she got married, when she was still living in Minchinbury, she was mum's junior secretary. And then my mum's younger sister also worked in the same legal office. So back then, so my mum worked from 16 and became paralegal for Ian Shulback. Ian Shulback and his wife and their children lived in Clifton Gardens in David Street. Diane Shulback ended up being one of mum's closest friends. So when we were growing up, they were always there. Ian Shulback was like an uncle to me. Now, I grew up listening, which is why I'm like, I'm a yelling and screaming. It's like, where do you get that from? Is that like, Reg? I said, but Ian Shulback was like an uncle. I mean, last time I saw him was in 1998. Not long before, he died, I think, a few years later, in Liverpool Street, in the city. And he was like Uncle Ian. He was an uncle, but not a blood uncle, if you know what I mean. And he used to yell and scream his lungs out. I mean, you could hear him from Clifton Gardens to the other end of Mossman. And that's who I grew up around, because Mum back then was normal. So before Mum got with her second husband, she was normal. She wasn't focused on the horses or this bullshit that she is now. She drove a normal car. She had a car. My dad had the good car. Mum had the second car. She was normal. Okay. She dressed properly. She behaved properly. She was normal. Her friends were city people. She had normal friends, unlike what she's just been affiliating with now since the last 30 years. She had normal people. Normal, like, Margie Clay. So back then, before Mum got with her second husband, Rui, I remember when Brendan Clay was young and they used to always come over to our place in Brudy Hill, or we used to go to their place in Mitchinbury. It's a shame. I even rang Brendan Clay recently to say, look, Ben, as kids, we used to hang out together. Like Brendan Clay, Margie Clay's son, now Margie, like I said, Margie's got a head up her ass now since she married Ross Goodridge, a barrister. And it's like, man, like Margie's son and I used to, we grew up together, playing together. We didn't go to school together, but he used to come over to our place in Dunsmore Street. We used to go to their place in Mitchinbury. Back when he was sort of her first husband, Trevor. Then when they moved into Kellyville, and so forth. It's like, are you kidding me? And this only started because of the bullshit the last 9 years. So some things happened in the last 9 years where the spread of information where it must come from country people. It's like, I'm over this. I know it comes from fucking losers at my high school. Oh my God. Pin what I just said, I'm going to focus on it seriously. All right, so this crap. So when my mother moved, right, and it's like, great. She's like, you have to change. You need to fit in with these people. It's like, I don't have to change. You moved here. So because I was too Larry, so my mum called, I'm like, but I wasn't Larry in Sydney. So wearing my designer shirts, that's what I was getting at. Mum used to work, and after, we were born, Ian Scholback even said to my mum, oh, Carol, you only come into work so you can go and go shopping for the twins. So our clothes were all coming from David Jones growing up. We had fabulous designer label clothing. There was as photos of us with matching little, like, even my mum was overseas and she'd bring back these matching little sort of Japanese suits or something. Like, I've got this photo of me and myself when we're kids. Like, there was always fabulous sort of different designer. My mum only changed when she went with her second husband. So these losers of people that were carrying on going, oh, no, Justin's family's like this. It's like, no, my mother was like that after she married her second husband. You keep saying what my life was like, but you don't know me before my mother was with her second husband and moved. So you keep repeating this and I keep repeating back to you, but you don't know me and you only knew of me for a few years after my mother moved. I'll be fucking losers from Tamworth for sure. Has to be deadbeats from Tamworth, without a doubt. Because this has gone on since my mother moved here. It's like, so here I am, we're moving up from Sydney, week of my 10th birthday, and I've got massive gold chains. Oh, look, Mum might want to remember, I was wearing Dad's engagement ring to school with me at St. Aidan's, and I left it at my desk. So there's a massive, big, chunky gold ring that was my dad's. And, Mum saw what happened. It was Dad's engagement ring. And I left it there in my class at St. Aidan's. And I was still going to St. Aidan's right up until April 1989. This is, again, so it has to be fucking losers, mate, from Tamworth. Like, seriously. Or it's probably fucking, Nicolette Jones, or one of those idiots that meet my mother and like, oh, but we knew him when he was this age. And like, impossible. Absolutely impossible, because my mother didn't move before April 1989. That's the week of our 10th birthday, so you didn't know me before I was 10, for starters. And then hang on, some Aboriginal, Emma Fields, I hadn't had, so she was going, oh, I knew him when he was this, or when he was straight. I'm like, man, I've never been straight. And she goes, oh, but so Emma Fields I bumped into in 2015. I'm like, I've got to stop visiting my fucking loser mother. And bumped into it, and it's like some avo. It's like, oh, I remember this. It's like, mate, I met you for the first time in October in 1989, and I was 10. So 10 and a half. when I met you. I haven't seen you since I was about 12 years of age. And then she goes, so because my stepfather worked with her mother or something. It's like, yeah. And my stepfather's son used to hang out there, Daniel Rackley. So I haven't seen you since I was 12. And she's like, so basically a lot of these losers of people, because through all the affiliates to do with my mother, if I'm socializing with my mother, they put two and two together and they go, oh, and so yeah, we know him. It's like, yeah, man, I can give you a timeline of when you know me or knew of me or have met me, but you don't. So you keep, only because you know my mother and my mother's second husband's family, you're dragging me into this. Anyway, so yeah, so I used to wear, we moved, I had like freaking major designer labels, fabulous fucking clothes. Anyway, Mum was always like, oh, you need to find an interest that they're interested in. It's like, no, I don't. I'm not staying here. You're the nut job that moved from Sydney. You deal with them. Like, seriously, that's what it was like straight away. It's like, I'm not dealing with these people. Oh, fucking hell. I'm still having to put up with the fucking losers. Oh, now I like to know what scam they've all dragged me into. Country people are the biggest scamming people. That's why they have money. They are the biggest scammers you would ever meet. Oh, what they can get from the government. Seriously. Oh, mate. Because they've got the monopoly, because it's like, well, where does your food come from? Basically. It's like that type of attitude. They've got this fucked up attitude. They're fucking losers. Oh, mate, just like the fucking dickheads that live below me. I can't wait to move and be back closer to the city. Oh, fucking hell. If I've got to fake a smile again, it's like, man, I haven't got that many walking past. Oh, hi. You're not meant to say it, but you fucking moron. Oh, this Heidi and her husband, fucking Frank Jones. It was bad enough in 2017 when I had some fucking dickhead Michael Long and Deb Mears. It's like, are you kidding me? What the fuck? Deadbeat losers from New England area. It's like, fuck off, man. Seriously, my mother moved there. That's nothing to do with me. Carol's going to find some other guy that she's head over heels with and move somewhere else. So, you know, like I've always said too, you never get this trouble from my dad's area. Like, Dad's lived at Empire Bay for as long as my mum's lived in Tamworth. But you don't see me getting harassed by anyone that isn't affiliated with my mother or where she moved to. So anyway, when she went up there, it's like, holy fuck. To deal with these people. And this is what it was like. So you've got to try and, oh, you need to fit in with them. It's like, how can I fit in with them? There is nothing at all in common. I'm like, Mum, they're born here. Their parents are born here. They don't even know where we lived in Sydney. They've never even been to Sydney. These people have never stepped foot out of this area. They're fucking morons. You know, I came out that I was gay in 1992 and a lot of idiots didn't even know what the fuck that was. Oh my God. Yet I was openly, like I was pretty much openly gay as a kid. Funny enough, Rebecca Johnson, who married Alex Posey, we went to the same primary school together at St. Aidan's in Rudy Hill, caught up with her for New Year's Eve in 2007. New Year's Day 2008, and I said, Beck, do you remember my best friend in primary school, Graydon? He's African. And so yeah, I said, what happened to him? She goes, he's a drag queen at King's Cross. It's like, are you kidding me? Oh my God. So different. Very, like, I go to school where I'm wearing gold chains and so forth, and, you know, my bling, and it's very Roman Catholic Sydney school, to Mum moves up there to these morons have never even been away from the town. And she wants me to socialise with them, where I want to avoid them like the plague. So, like, in class, I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, literally, I'll be finishing my work and I'll be sitting here listening to the bogans and the way they talk, going, oh, fucking hell, only a couple more weeks and I'm back home in Sydney. Oh my God. And their accent was like nails down a chalkboard. It was like, seriously, like, I don't know, someone torturing a hyena. Oh, and now my mother speaks like it too. It's like, seriously, it was like someone torturing a hyena. The most biggest fucking losers, sorry, the most biggest fucking losers you're ever going to meet in life, besides my neighbours downstairs, which are fucking deadbeats. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you have billions of dollars. You're still from fucking New England. You're an idiot. And I still fake it every time I walk past you. So, apart from that, those people in the area, it's like, oh my God. Like, okay, this was like, so we went to Pony Club in Sydney, used to ride against Vines and so forth, have Jamboree in Castle Hill. Normal people in Sydney that had horses in Sydney. So like-minded people, because it wasn't country, it was people in Sydney that had horses. So Sydney people with horses. You might get the ones that are a bit more rich than you, which we did, especially the ones that rode for Vines. We rode for Kumara. But, still Sydney people and city people in Sydney that you rode against at Jamboree. Change that lifestyle when you're 10 to go in and try and do the same thing in the country, you can't. So we're there, Mum moved, shows us this ridiculous Pony Club area. And where the Pony Club was, if I thought where my mother lived, where she moved to, was backwards, and in the 90s, it was like going to a time warp backwards to 50 years behind. I'm like, coming from Sydney, it was like, holy shit, this other area where we went to pony clubbing, 100 years behind, like Little House on the Prairie type behind. Absolute fucking weirdos. And so first thing then, I'm like, I can't socialize with these people. I don't have anything. Like, seriously, I come from Sydney where, I grew up as a kid. Like, okay, so what did you grow up with as a kid? I had great, used to collect stuff to do with, used to go back to the days of He-Man and whatever, and had Grayskull Castle, and used to have my friends over and be playing, like, these sort of games with that. I had, sort of normal city suburban lifestyle. I used to go hang out at the coffee shop down the road with Graydons from the pool, go to the shopping mall. What do you do? Type thing. And they had all this sort of stuff involving land. It's like, what? Like, they thought it was fun. It's like what? Like, my cousin, my mum's nephew, used to like shit like that. But then he's from the country. He's my mum's nephew. His father's from the country. So different thing. Like, my mum's sister's son, he's born in the country, like Bathurst, and his father's family are from there. Like, so his father's actually from land, my cousin. So he likes things like that, but that's what where my father's from Parramatta. So yeah, my dad went deep sea scuba diving growing up, played baseball growing up, where my cousin's father was a bushman. Like, seriously, kid you not. So that just tells you in the same family how there's complete opposites. So my mum's nephew loves that type of environment. I'm like going, yeah, but he's also born in that environment. Like, look at Shane's fucking father's family. And Shane's mother went there to ran off and was with his father in some bushland. So, yeah, no wonder they like it. They're weirdos. Anyway, so we're there and, like, our mums are going to go, oh, but you rode horses in Sydney. Like, got that in common. It's like, different people. I rode horses with people in Sydney that had horses in Sydney. I don't have anything in common with these people. So it was like this whole nails on a chalkboard the whole time. And it's like, okay, after a while, you give me a migraine. Literally, I was the biggest, and weird, because then someone was like, oh, but didn't he get picked on? I'm like, oh, I don't think, besides me having my eyebrow waxed off with duct tape, which, because I used to have one eyebrow. And that was part of me as well, because I used to actually wax as a kid and pluck since a kid my monobrow. I've had it lasered since. So that wasn't fully, when I had duct tape, my eyebrow waxed off with duct tape. That wasn't really being picked on. That was also me trying to think, the guy that did it, but I had one eyebrow. I had fucking one eyebrow. I was tan with one eyebrow. So there. But, I just looked at it. Like, I used to have a mole on my nose as well. And I was looking at this going, oh man, like, you could have been 100% over the top, sickly nice to me. Or you could have been an absolute arsehole to me. It wouldn't have made a difference. I wasn't from the area. I'm not used to those people. I can't stand those people. I thought they were fucking time warp weirdos. And everybody that mother kept affiliating within the area, I'm just like, oh God. Her lifestyle completely changed when she got with her second husband. Completely the person she was. I was like, oh God, how long? Like, it was like counting the days. It's like, okay, every 2 weeks we're back home in Sydney anyway. and every holiday except for October. And you'd be there, I'll be there in class, like I finish my work, it's like, I've got to get out of this classroom. That's what it would be like. I'd be like, okay, I want to get in, get my work done. How long have I got to be? It's like an hour with these people, and you listen to it, but like they put their hands, like this is how bad it was. I'll be like, they'll be putting their hands up to ask a question, and the accents, and I'm like, fuck, man, seriously, it's like torturing a hyena, the way these people talk. It's like torturing a hyena. It was like, oh God. And the stuff that they would say, like I said, I literally came out that I was gay in 1992. And I swear these people had no idea what that meant, some of them. And the ones that did were probably, like, it was weird. And then I'll give you a great idea. In the last 9 years, I had losers from this area. So they were like, oh no, his hair was blonde. I'm like, yeah man, my hair was never blonde. Not since I was a baby and I lost my baby hair. My hair's always been black. And they were talking about, so I have people from my high school. I've got to find it. I was just looking up Justin Pascoe. I literally, so after some bullshit, of an organisation saying we're going to rally around friends and family. My mother would have loved that because it meant she could try and scam again. Oh, he was friends with all these people up here. I was like, oh, fuck off. No, I wasn't. You psychopath. Yeah, man, no way. I was the biggest cunt, and they couldn't tell. It's like, you know, that you're being a cunt to them. It's like, that's because you're from the country. You don't understand. I'm actually being sarcastic and mockery to you right now, but on a derogatory term, and you don't get it. Like, for an example, where did you keep your horses in Sydney? On the roof? Because they didn't believe we had a horse stud in Sydney, and be like, yes, on the roof. Yeah, that's right. Like, and I used to be like the biggest smartest. I'm like, oh fuck me, Dad. This is who Cara wants to affiliate with. Oh, good on her. She's a loser. Anyway, dickheads from my high school. They had information of like, oh yes, we know him, and he was born here, or he was here. I know he was here when he was about 6. And it's like, nope. And also, you just described Justin Pascoe to me. So Justin Pascoe, and I literally, it's like, and my mother jumps onto this going, oh yeah, he was in the musicals. It's like, so was Justin Pascoe. He was older than me, and they just keep describing Justin Pascoe. Weird, because I remember this, because this guy used to get picked on like nothing else. I shouldn't laugh about it. It's really bad. He used to get bullied. Not by me. He was older, but you used to hear about it all the time. And I remember there was a time because he was doing a pizza party and inviting people. I got invited to. I was like, no, I'm not going. Where like he was putting some for his birthday. He was doing some pizza party for his birthday or something. It's Justin Pascoe. And there was, you know, flyers all up around the place. But yeah, no, he used to get picked on. He's had an older brother at the school, and I tell you what happened. So some fuckwits saw my social media. Brett Aikenhead, who I don't know from Barra Sober, I bought my dog from him. So this is all through social media stalking, which are fucking... See, you'll understand, like, when you realise how stupid these people are, you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, Justin, so these people just stalked him on social media in the last 9 years. It's like, yeah, and they don't know him. He was only there for 6 years. He's 45. Knock it off. The dog still wants my attention. And it's like, yeah, that's what these people are like. They're fucking freaks, which is probably why my sister still affiliates with them. So Our Lady Rosa College, I went to there. But there was this big thing that tried to make out that there was some trauma and, you know, that must have upset you, or this must have been damaging to you. Your mother moved. It's like, not really. I didn't really grow up with my mother. It's this made up. So where people scam from this area, oh, that was so traumatizing. It's like, if you say so. If you find it traumatizing, I'm just sitting back laughing at you. So yeah, when Carol moved, and this got on for 9 years, which is why, and oh my fucking God, you got people going, so Carol used again, trying to get people to change me to be like Shane Childs. Like, seriously. People thought I was this, oh, you grew up with horses. It's like, yeah, horses are money. Horses are business. That's what we had horses for. It's like, you know, primary producer. You know, thoroughbreds, hacks and so forth. Educate them up and sell them So this is not some, fluffy, crap. Because my sports were soccer, my interests were art, design, and so forth. I grew up going to the art gallery, which I did, and going to the theatre, cultured, and grew up involved in fashion, which I did. So yeah, it's just weird. This would have to be like, obviously there's some skink lowlifes from Tamworth that contacted idiots from Sydney, and it's like, oh wow. And when this all happened when Nan's not around to stand up and go, what a load of rubbish that these people are on with. It's like, yeah. So, and it's all this crap. Oh, wait, the last 9 years. Oh, you copied me. Yeah, no, I didn't, mate. You copied me if you want to look at the history of what I had. So, yeah, I'm turning back to the post before that where it was with the BMW. I was like, oh, right. Considering that the BMW I have is one that I was looking at that model back in 2006. And I purchased in 2012, early 2012, and I never knew you before late 2013, so that doesn't make any sense. And the fact that my grandfather loved BMWs, loved German engineering, and he always said, like, if he never had kids, he would have. And Nan's like, oh yeah, your father, but meaning my grandfather, always had amazing cars before we had kids. Loved his cars, loved his sports cars. And my dad used to have a muscle car. My dad had the nicer car. My mother's the one that wants this weird lifestyle, but she wants everybody to copy her. So anyway, the way I look at it is, you've got no other choice. The last 9 years, it cost me my expensive assets, belongings, and savings. So you're going to pay that back first. My credibility is destroyed, but I don't care. You came after my life, so I'll come after yours. Which is why next week you'll be like, yeah, let's watch what this fucking loser from Penrith has to say. So yeah, not friends, mate. I paid you for a service. I love it. It's like, man, you got paid for a service. You're my hairdresser, and you're lucky to socialise with me, as far as I'm concerned. We're not friends, buddy, at all. But I'll hear you out, and I'm going to turn around still and say, yeah, we've still got to go to court. Whichever way you like it or not, love. I'm here to get this bullshit corrected. Actually, when I was talking about, so putting that for sex, I just sort of had a thought back. Dickheads from Tamworth, there's some fucking loser Aboriginals that have joined the police force that were friends of my fucking loser mother's sister and her children. So I was just thinking then, I was like, who changed details? I put it in a post before about changing details in 2008. And it has to be somebody who knew my mother after she married her second husband and moved from Sydney. So it has to be some dickhead loser from Tamworth after my mother married her second husband. Because they don't know, but seriously, I was there for 6 years, and it's like, and they were enjoyed sort of the different bit of life. But yeah. Briefly, oh my God, it's like the fucking dickheads in this street. Oh man, the fucking idiot crap. Oh, they're all trying to play these little scams. Oh, country people fucking scamming with their dogs and shit. Oh, this country guy that was talking to today, it's like, oh, fuck me, Dad. Mate, we are never going to be friends, so I can just be fake and polite to you all you want, because idiots thought, oh, he's not... There's all this crap going on. To do with, he doesn't do this, doesn't leave his apartment. It's like, yeah, because I got a chest infection. It's because in 2016 I had pneumonia. It's got nothing to do with what Giovanni made up when he was scamming the government system, saying he was a carer and messaging people to help him get away with fraud. So there's the other thing as well. Fuck me dead. Giovanni Consalvo, who is actually from country town LA, because I've been to the area he grew up in. I'm like, this is where you grew up? This is like Tamworth. Because you grew up here, and we're talking about that, before the year 2000, and I'm looking at this place back in 2013 going, you grew up in an area like Tamworth. You grew up in a fucking, you can say it all you want, that it's Adelaide. It's like, man, Adelaide's a small country town in itself, and you didn't grow up in the city of Adelaide. You grew up in a place that's like fucking Tamworth. That's why you've got issues. Where I grew up in Blacktown, which I did, moved when I was 10, but I went back there. Like this crap, my mum's always talking, it's like, hang on, I went back there when I was in 95, and the only reason in October 96 did I even go near Tamworth, where you lived, is because I entered for a modelling competition that they were hosting there. And I made it very clear, when my mum was carrying on with her stuff, I'm like, no, I'm just staying here, because I'm going back and forth from days at Empire Bay. I'm like, no, I'm just staying here just while this is over. I'm back in Sydney. And technically in 1998, before Bradley Mihowski, my nephew's christening, all my stuff was moved back to Blacktown at Nan and Pops, and it was. Then I got into some strife in 98 just after his christening, and and had to stay in the area for a year. So the only reason, so this is exactly what happened. So in 1998, when I was 18, I moved back to Blacktown. I actually brought all my stuff back again. So I was back in Blacktown in 1995 then I went to Dad's at Empire Bay. Was at Empire Bay until October 1996. And then traveled around a bit, but moved back home to Blacktown the week before Bradley Mihowski's christening in Sydney. So that would have been around November. Yeah, because it was about October. So it might have been a month before. Because it was October in 1998. I was driving and moving all my stuff back to Nan and Pops in Blacktown. And then Bradley Mihowski's christening was around November. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I don't talk to the auntie, don't really care, but I'm sure my cousin Bradley Mihowski's christening was around November 1998. Yeah, I've got a really good memory. It's almost photographic. So when I see people I can't stand, I've got to pretend that I don't remember them. Literally, I was doing this for years, going, oh no. Oh, wait, because I do need glasses. I've been wearing glasses my entire life. No one would know this. You don't see this at home. Or if I don't have my glasses on, I can use that as an excuse now because I'm going to use them on, but I don't have my glasses on and say, sorry I avoided you, but I really can't fucking stand you. If I liked you, we would be catching up for coffee. Anyway. So, yeah, that's another thing that got brought up. Oh my God. Someone goes, he doesn't wear glasses. It's like, really? I've worn glasses my entire life. Well, the first prescription glasses I had was in 1990. 1990, and it was from Gosford, and they were bifocals. My first prescription glasses, and nothing much has changed because I have one for reading. I've got the exact same frame. One's for reading, one's for long distance. So yeah, I've actually had glasses my entire life. So we're talking almost about 35 years I have worn glasses for. I just don't wear them at school, and I just don't wear them out in public, and I've only ever worn them at home. That's the difference. So when people's like, man, you don't know anything about me at all, because I've always worn glasses. That's never changed. Oh man, look, half this shit started with that fucking Giovanni Consalvo, which, look, if police start waking up to themselves, you'll be putting him in jail for the fraud. All this could have stopped 9 years ago when he was told to tell the truth before it got out of control. He didn't. Anyway. Yeah, so anyway, I'll circle back around that later. I don't care. I've still got to go into the Down Centre, make sure they've got the emails from me regarding that. It's like, no, man, you're not going to get away with this. You just damaged my life in the city where I've lived most of my life. And then damaged my life in America as well. I really don't care anymore. But you've been doing this since I met you. Just for whatever gain you get in from this. You're a scumbag from Adelaide. Anyway. So, yeah. So, photographic memory. And let's get back to what I was saying. Moved back to Blacktown, would have been October, but I'm sure Bradley Mihowski's christening was November 1998. Then just after christening, I got into some strife because I was moving back to Sydney. And the boyfriend that I was dating at the time was a loser. And he found out, and we got into an argument, and he wouldn't let me go. And then I ended up having to stay in the area for 1 year while that was getting resolved. So the only reason I was ever in that area in 1999 and not back home in Sydney was because I had to stay in the area because of this fucking weirdo boyfriend that I had, which I only met when I was... So I met this guy. Here's the other scare my mum's doing. This guy, Stephen Babbage. I met him when I was 17. So I met him in 1997 and separated in 1998. And this is where my mother has no brain cells. She's like, oh, no, you knew him longer than that. I'm like, how, Carol? How? Because I never knew him when... I had nothing to do with him when I was working at the Powerhouse Hotel, and I started there at the beginning in 1999. So she can't... Look, she's just dumb. Look, seriously, my mother's just dumb. Like, you look at her and it's like... she just says things like, it's like, did you do the math on that first, Carol? Because it doesn't even match the timeline. It's like they'll go, oh, you were with Joey Mena for such a long time. I'm like, I wasn't with Joey Mena a year. Oh, how do you, like, their attitude? It's like, even, and it's something that they do. My mother and her sisters do. It's like, oh, but you were with him for about 5 years. I'm like, how old do you think I am? How was I with Joey Mena that time? And this is what something that Christy Child said. I met Joey Mena at Mark Henner's 21st in 2003. The first time I'd ever met Joey Mena was at Mark Henner's 21st in 2003. Okay, we dated. Our first date was Joseph Mena's birthday, the 1st of August 2003. Okay, I left Joseph Mena. Okay, not the first time I left him, because I left him on and off and was even had a fling with Carlos Azzi. He used to own Josso Cafe in Stanley Street. I left Joseph Mena in April 2004, the week of my 25th birthday. So here's my mother's side. They just don't. So I can't wait. Like, it should be going legal. I said 9 years ago, can we take it legally? Because these women are dumb. They're just dumb. Then they go, oh, they knew them for about 5 years. I mean, just dumb, purdy fucking bitches. That's what they're fucking... Oh, they're just dumb people. They're dumb women. It's like, maybe you shouldn't drink. Because that doesn't match the facts. You meet someone, like, here's the date, in 2003, and then left in the date in 2004. That's less than a year. So I didn't know him for even a year. And the same thing with this Stephen Babbage. Baxter, knock it off! He's whinging because he wants a hug from me. He hates it when I don't give him attention. So don't oof me. That's my dog in the background being buffet. The same thing. It's like Stephen Babbage. It's like, yeah, I met Stephen Babbage in 1997, just before my 18th birthday. I was 18, but then, like, well into my 18th before I had anything to do with the guy. And I left him in 98. So how was I with this guy a long time? Bax. And that's the thing. My mother and her sisters, they can't do time. But they're just dumb women. Look, they're dumb women that drink. I look at people like that, it's like, oh man. Like, seriously, you're just an idiot. Like, so they'll make these stories up and go, oh, for this amount of years. It's like, that amount of years doesn't match the dates. It's like, Mum's like, oh, you were with Stephen Babbage for such a long time. It's like, met him in 97, had nothing to do with him in 98. That's not a long time, mate. That's a year. I know you're an idiot, but that is only a fucking year. So this is what they do. And it must be only country people that listen to her, because it's like, you get all these country losers. It's like, oh man, wow, you're a fucking idiot. Like, literally, you're a fucking idiot. Like, there's the dates, but you can't look at a date and figure out a timeline. Same thing with that Stephanie DeSalis. It's like, yeah, I met Stephanie DeSalis when I was living in St. Leonard's. This is the thing. Like, so fucking hell, this Jacob guy I was talking today, it's like, oh man, surely you must know I'm just doing this out of politeness to talk to you. Because I think you're a fucking idiot. No offense. So surely you must know this is just me being polite. With the crap that's going on. So yeah, it's like, man, how many more country people? It's like, and then they're like, oh yes, you know, oh, because they're all born and raised in the country town. So when they move to the big city, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm actually am from Sydney. You think I'm not, but I am, and you were told this. We're gonna go around in circles, so I just be polite to you and go back going, oh man, you're a fucking loser. You are a fucking loser, man. Yeah. So yeah, I've always, yeah. Anyway, when it comes to the timeline, it's like, okay, my mother, in the year 2000, I'm working at the Gazebo Hotel, Church Street, Parramatta, and was working for the Olympics there. And then my mum turns around one day, she goes, oh, you were here. I was like, no, I was working at Church Street, Parramatta, right through the Olympics. Assis was one of the friends I had there, like I always, make friends anywhere. Assis, Chantel Sharma, who I was hanging out with. That's where I met Rachel Simmons. So Rachel Simmons and I used to be friends, and it was myself, Assis, and Michael Rankins, who was my friends back then in 99 and 2000, who helped Rachel Simmons move from Parramatta to Blacktown. Rachel Simmons she's lived in Bondi for that longest period as well. So Rachel Simmons and I were good friends back when we lived in the suburbs. So I'm again going to my mum's side. Look, you guys are scammers. You country town scammers, and you are, yeah. They are. All right, I have to stop this. This was meant to be just facts and get to the point, but he is whinging for a cuddle. So, yeah, look, I can give a timeline, and where this is going around in a circle and it's going to come full back is where I was trying to explain where I did in the first one, which was uploaded, how this started in the last 9 years. And I'll tell you, because it started as soon as I was mugged after work, November 30th, 2007, and my mother was trying to scam and use that for her own advantage. So, yeah, never had a brain injury, but they've tried to turn it into... there must be so much money where the government's giving for trauma at the moment. It was like, yeah, but there was no traumatic brain injury. I was in a Glasgow coma scale 13, which means not knocked out on the way home from work, but nothing changed. And then I meet Giovanni in 2008. He starts telling people, oh, he's changed since the brain injury. It's like, again, no brain injury, and no trauma. And what this did was, and I've even had insurance companies harass me. It's like, but mate, you didn't get your information from me. Yeah, I went through workers' comp, not through my own choice, and it was part salary payment for 10 years after I was mugged. But you chose not to listen to me. You chose when my mother was going to people going, oh, if I could just get him to live here. It's like, stop scamming. I'm trying to recover from just a simple mugging. Something very simple. I'm trying to recover from that so I can return back to work, like now. And you're stopping me returning to work. Giovanni stopped me return to work. My mother tried to scam and stop it. George Jacobs did. And I'm standing there going, but hang on. All I need to do is maintain the migraines, damage to my left eye, damage to my right knee, damage to my back. Once I have everything in place, maintain all that, I'll be right to go back to work. So why are you stopping me going back to work at Star Casino and telling me, making it into mental health where you've got to have to let go and move on? It's like, there is no letting go and move on from anything. It's my career and you're stopping me. And how much money are you getting through government-funded organisations for this? Which is why, actually, I'm going to pinpoint that. He is whinging his ear off this dog. He loves my attention. But what I'm thinking about too, that's where there's an organisation that's definitely scamming government-funded organisation money. Oh man, who doesn't? Like the country, the way Australia is, disability funded money is not going to people that have injuries or health problems. No, it's going to the people that are making organisations and working for those organisations. So it's social workers, support workers, people that are actually getting reimbursed for lunches, saying, oh, but I took this person out for lunch because he's got some phobia against people or this, and they sign off and get money back from it. That's where this is going. They're going it from, there's so much crap in Australia. And I've sat back and seen this in the last 9 years, especially when it comes to an organisation, Mind Dog, and I thought, man, I've watched my mother and her sister do this. I watched my mother's sister, Robin Childs, wanting to drink all day at the pub or drink all day at the Chinese restaurant that's in Bridge Street. So she gets a group of people from her little disability work, takes them down, invites her family members along, like Mary and Mahowski and so forth. They get absolutely shit-faced on funded money from a disability organisation. I've seen this my entire life. Or wait, there's like, as long as they're taking these people with disabilities out, it's like you're a disability scammer. And the people who have injuries aren't the scammers. The people who work in those organisations are the scammers. The people who run those organisations are the scammers. Giovanni Consalvo, my ex-partner, is a scammer. He's the same thing. Apparently he was a carer that, I wasn't going out and all this shit. It's like, man, I don't go out when I've got pneumonia. I had a weakened immune system. I had meningitis, spinal meningitis in 2010. So I had to change my lifestyle around and watch how I lived, which meant if I get crook like I am now, I can't be out getting crook and then getting crook and then getting crook because I'm going to end up being that sick with pneumonia again. So I don't go out that often when I'm crook with pneumonia or chest infections or respiratory. Yeah, but who's saying that I wasn't going out? And then this is something else that was said when I made an entry after getting the green card. So when I went and made an entry after getting the green card, immigration, fucking immigration are useless idiots. You tell them information, they go with something else. It's like, yeah, okay. But you're already told that I was in New York the year before, so I'm only going making an entry. I don't know who's involved in these people. I'm only going to New York to make an entry and come back. So I'll make sure I secure the green card. I've already travelled around America in the past. I don't need to do it twice. I'll be relocating as a permanent resident to work on, I'll be going back to my studies in design. Didn't get to do that. And always fall back on my VIP hosting. This is 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, that's what I was doing after I accepted the green cards. Then my mother turned that into some disability scam. So I had to make an entry around December 2014. And my mother goes, she's making up these stories again. She's like crying and carrying on going, oh, I wish I was there with you to hold your hand. And she's a fucking loser. I'd love to know what's been said, what scam has happened. She said, oh, to take the horse and carriage ride. Oh, you're going to love New York. It's like, I was just in New York last year. Again, this is where I've said to people, March 2013, I'm not in Australia. I know Giovanni raised red flags if everybody made up a story, which I'm sure everybody got that story because it wasn't corrected. Here's the thing. I was not in Australia in March 2013, but organisations were involved in my life because apparently I wasn't leaving my apartment. I was depressed and suicidal. And that was passed around everywhere. I found this out when I came back from overseas and George Jacobs refused to correct the information he had. Refused. So insurance, if they ever turn around and say, oh, but you didn't tell us, it's like, I'm telling George Jacobs, when he, shut up. I'm telling George Jacobs when he wanted to send information to the crisis group and these other organisations in March 2013, I'm there going, and this is because what a good actor Giovanni Consalvo is. I'm like, I wasn't here. He's like, I had Giovanni in hysterics in my office, crying his eyes out. I'm like, oh, he's on ice again. He's on ice again. Because Giovanni Consalvo was a massive big ice user, so he could get fisted. And he's like, he was in hysterics. He doesn't get any help from your family. He's there alone. He had to take March off work. And March, Mardi Gras, gay parties. Are you a fucking moron? I'm there going, I'm not in the country. I was not in the country. And he didn't believe me. This guy, George Jacobs, did not believe that I wasn't in the country. I was not in Australia in March 2013, even though I had planned March 2013 the year before, because I was meant to make an entry into the US the year before after I submitted my green card. He did not believe that I wasn't in the country. Even though when I happened to be in the US, there was people from Sydney who I knew, like Johnny Totaro and Sandra, that were in America at the same time I was in there. And I'm like, I wasn't here. I don't care what family said. I don't care. I'm not close to my family. So if I'm off overseas one day and they don't know about it, tough. They shouldn't know about it. They're fucking losers. I'm living my life. I'm not mentally disabled. The only problems I've got is physical health and chronic illness. There is no need for this amount of prying into my life. It's a scam. Geo took the entire March 2013 off work to turn my apartment into a sex drug pit when I wasn't there. That's what he did. And he got paid for that. And he got reimbursed for that. And he damaged my credibility to the point that that is listed in at St. Vincent's that I was, well, those situations. I'm like, yeah, but I was not in the country. So that's not true. Anyway, look, that won't get resolved until a solicitor actually starts taking it. Well, after the last 9 years, I don't think a solicitor's going to take it on, but I'll tell you this. I'm going to go after everybody. I've got a meeting with this fucking idiot next Monday, and I'll be like, yeah, this is a joke. So basically, whatever she has to say, I don't care. It's like, man, you only my hairdresser. You got paid for a service. I'm telling you now that this is going so much further. So if you don't want me to be a little cunt, and if people don't want me to be a little cunt, I would start thinking about what I need corrected in my life and resolved, where useless police have wrong information, and where I need a solicitor to fix this, because this has just damaged my life in America. Okay. It wasn't Greyhound therapy, but I'm sure Giovanni would have spread that around as well. It's right up his alley, being a born-again Christian, Jehovah's Witness, Latter-day Saints, Mormon loser. Yeah. So I'll leave it there. I was going to start doing this and cover all the facts of the last 9 years. And I went off to give a background with what went on. So I will put a third one up and just cover the facts. And the facts are, this was so easy to have me lied about and organisations manipulated into this. Yeah, my mother's part of it. Like, honestly, I read my mother for I'm not close to her, but I was like, oh, look, I'm being lied about. I need a solicitor to fix this. And it's come from city people and so forth, as well as idiots around where my mother lives. And she didn't help. But what she did do was she grabbed hold of those lies and she tried to use that for her own advantage.